you're also doing nice big things now, musical director, big TV productions, traveling Africa, doing the right thing, big concerts. We've come a long way. It's great to see, and well done to you. And it's like a big congratulations.
Yeah,
Music has always been written for me from a perspective of like escapism. Like
yeah,
my mom always says like, I've got a very wild imagination. My mom said, since a young age, you've got a wild imagination.
yeah, yeah,
Take Michael Jackson, put wool here, be Michael Jackson, use a surgical gloves.
yeah.
MP keep dancing. He only hang out with the kicks and he only hang out with the kicks and the snares.
On today's Kicks and Snares episode, Stay Home edition, I've got one of my favorite individuals in South Africa, one of my good friends, JR. What's happening, bro?
This is the stay home edition.
Of course, and you're slaying it. Like you got wardrobe on lock, son. Oh shit. Yeah, it is recording. You got You've got the wardrobe on lock, man. Look at you.
I'm just trying to keep warm, my brother. It's been a rough couple of weeks. So it's the first day I actually have free, like in about 3 weeks, and we're in the middle of lockdown. Imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've been trying to keep safe, as safe as I can.
Okay, so basically what you're trying to say is business is booming.
No, it's always good to stay busy. It's not even about business. It's just good to stay busy.
You have to keep
your mind agile. It keeps you, you don't go through a lot of things. A lot of people thinking too much about a lot. But but we're here. That's you told me to join Zoom. You called me. You've been trying to reach me for 3 days. You've been,
Of course. So, of course, man, I've been trying to reach you because for me, this is an important thing. Kicks and Snares is a project where I want to talk about the stories behind the music, And so my mind, I've done a lot of brainstorming on the things and what I want to say on it. I've got my reasons of doing it. It's mostly to just create an appetite and get people talking about the process behind the music and just actually honor the other people that are involved in the music. And just actually even acknowledge the friendships that were birthed by the music, because of us doing music. I know so many of your friends, so many of my friends, and in a way we'll know each other for the rest of our lives, and we can look back and be like, yo, that was such a dope time. So just looking back on the journey of Gata Le Nna, because for me that song was a very important song in my career. It's always going to be an important song, and it solidified a lot of beliefs that I had about music, and because of that, I've made so many friendships and made so many business people that I'll know forever.
You have, bro. You've built lots of important relationships. You've built lots of relationships that have helped people jumpstart their careers. You've been quite instrumental to a lot of things. Television, film.
So it's one of those in our industries, like it's always weird to go in a public platform and thank someone and tell the other person how much you love them, especially if it's ninjas, it's two people of the same sex. Normally yo dog, they'll throw a hashtag in them, like, nah dude, we don't say that. So now that we have this conversation face to face, I can be like, yo Jay, thank you so much for the music. Thank you for inspiring me. We have never stopped since you started creating music. You are still creating music. You're doing big things. And I look back, I'm like, yo, it's JJ. I've known from the red car, bro. I can't remember what make of car it was.
Proton heavy.
Yeah. The Proton. Where we'd all 5 guys, 6 guys drive in there. Even the one time we got into an accident outside of my complex. Some stupid kids were, you know what I mean? We have so many stories that we can look back and be like, oh my, there was a time where we used to jump in there, and there was a time where you were driving a massive Jeep, and now you're a multi-business owner. writing songs. Like if people want big songs, they come to JR because they know they're gonna deliver. I just wanted to say I'm proud of you, man. Like, and I'm always gonna be in the vibe. You know, we're always gonna vibe together as friends. I'm sure, like at some point in our careers, we'll be in a position to be like, yo, we want like a 2-week stay somewhere and go make some music and just vibe.
Yeah.
And
Look, that's what I think. Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother. I think for me, the respect is mutual. I think I was watching some film with Emma Thompson on Netflix, and she plays a character of a TV show host.
Yeah.
So he hires this girl who then says to her, like, well, I've always looked up to you. I think you're an amazing person. You know, I think you've got a great personality. I think you've helped so many people. And she's like, don't do that. Don't. Just stop, you know? Because like famous people don't like that. You know, famous people don't like being told. It's awkward. It makes it awkward, you know? Like
Yeah.
I wish I had the guts to say that, because you're right. Like it's hard to tell someone like how great you feel about them or whatever, because it genuinely makes you feel awkward, because everybody you don't know tells you that you built a wall against it. So the people you do know, you're not expecting that from, because now you're like, why are you acting like someone I don't know? Because only the people I don't know will thank me for my contribution or whatever. The people that I do know shouldn't have to, because we were through it together. You know, we went through this thing together. Like we've been through these things. So it's quite, I've never learned how to take those compliments. And I guess it's a thank you thing. Like, thank you very much, I mean, for that. But I think you know, it's just, I just want to write great music. I wanted to make music. And another reason is like, I started like, kind of like stepping away, because I just, all I ever really wanted to do was like make great records. Like I just wanted to make great music. Like, you know, like it needed to sound a certain way. And, you know, and if it doesn't, and if it changes, maybe I just don't want to do it anymore, or I want to do it under my conditions where it feels a certain way. But I'm glad that, you know, guys like you know, we started out together. We've done a lot together. We worked on the first album together. You know, we worked with other things along the way. You're also doing nice big things now, you know, musical director, big TV productions, you know, traveling Africa, doing the right thing, big concerts and everything, you know, like, so we've come a long way. It's great to see, and well done to you. And it's like a big congratulations, you know? So
let's take it back to like 2006. We meet out there in Pretoria. I think we met at a McDonald's through one of my classmates. What's his name? Patu or Katu? No, we met you at, I think we met you at the bus stop at Pretoria Tech. It's called TUT. Yeah, it's called TUT now, but it was Pretoria Tech then. No, it was TUT, and, bro. TUT. No, it was Pretoria Tech. No, it was TUT, bro. Was it? It was TUT. Okay, so you did TUT in 2000 and it was 2005, I think. Yeah, and you were part of a band. There were two of you. 2005. Yeah. There was no way it was TUT. There was no way it was TUT in 2005. Yeah, okay. It was TUT. There was no way it was TUT. Okay, it's fine. We'll Google. So I remember you were waiting in a bus stop, and we made you wait for a while because my band member at the time, well, my rap duo partner at the time, was coming from work or something. Yeah. And we had to wait, and we made you wait, and you were like going all the way from thing. Yeah. So like from to your house to Joburg. Like I remember the guy, I think it was Ketuma Zibu. Yeah, Ketu. Yeah, Ketu. Yeah, so we met through Ketu. I met Ketu like at my cousin's wedding, Kaukelo Mapai, and he was getting married, and was that Kaula's wedding? I think it must have been. Anyway, yeah, but anyway, there was a wedding, and he was there in the neighborhood, and I said, "Yo, man, like." So me and my cousin asked him, like, "Yo, man, this is quite a rich neighborhood. Why are you coming to a wedding in flip-flops, you know?" So clearly, you must be a guy who lives around here, you know? You're next door, you just come to this wedding. And he was like, nah. So we later found out, like, he was like, you know, his pops or stepdad was a minister or whatever the fuck. But anyway,
And then he was like to me, I was performing at the wedding, and he said, look, I go to school with a guy who says he works for Gata Le Nna. I'm not sure if he does. You know, niggas is lying. You know, in my head, I'm thinking, there's no way this guy can work for Gata Le Nna and live in Pretoria. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, how do you go to school but work for Gata Le Nna? You know, so at that point, I'm thinking you literally live in Pretoria. I'm like, there's no way. Like, Gata Le Nna, you're Joburg based. You got to be a guy who lives in Josie. And, you know. And then he was like, look, man, like, he says his name is 37 MPH. I said, there's no way. I know the guy from Gata Le Nna.
Yeah.
You know, so in my head, I'm thinking, I know the Gata Le Nna guys. I know Kylex. I know KB.
Yeah.
I know Amu. Yeah. I know Bongs. I know, you know what I mean? Tasman. I'm naming all of these. Like, these guys are like, they are Gata Le Nna producers.
Yeah.
This fucking 37 MPH. What So he's like, bro, try him out, you know? So I was like, okay, cool. That's when I gave you a shot. And I think you were like, no, I'm pretty busy, but I'm sure we can meet after my class. And that's where we met, at a bus stop. Like, we went to come pick you up, and we drove you to, I think, one of the bus locations or the taxi locations, go back to Joburg. Yeah. And it was the only time we could actually have to talk and for you to listen to music. And we just talked in the car.
Hey, it was a tricky thing to navigate, because, like, you guys were cool. But, like, you know, I mean, we did quite a few sessions. Puppet was the plug, you know. He was the plug. He was making sure that you guys were in studio the whole time. And then, like, eventually, I started avoiding you. It's like, you know that thing, like, when you can't tell someone, yo, dog. Then you're like, yo, dog, what's happening, homie? Why are you not taking my calls? I'm like, yo, it's Jay, dog. Let me be here with you, because you're like, you're not hearing me. I was like, listen, man, listen, you're dope, but your partner in crime is not at the level of you, bro.
You're a boy, man. You're a boy.
And then we had to have one of those honest conversations, and after that,
there's a problem with homeboy, bro.
Yeah, he was cool, but, like, he was not at the level. I'm sure now, I mean, if he carried on, he would have been somebody in the game, you know. But you had the vibes, and I was like, this is the guy. This is the guy. You know that thing. Like, I was getting frustrated. Like, we're making a song, right? This one guy always smashes take 1 and take 2. The other one, we're still doing the same verse 2 hours later. And I was like, this is tiring, man. I produced Ishmael's album before this. Do you understand me? I produced RJ Benjamin, okay? Zola was in the studio, and I have to listen to what? I was like, now, come on. But you had the fire. And then the tricky thing about that relationship and where I was signed to was that I pitched you. I'm like, yo, check this out. There's this cat. His name is JR. He's got dope tracks. Yo, straight up turned it down. No. Sounds like Murafe. Sounds like Jabba. I was heartbroken, bro. I pitched many times. And I was like, all right, cool. We're going to wait. I was like, Jay, come through, dog. I remember there was even times where you would come to the studio and you do like a rehearsal at the big studio at Cube. And you're like, I know. Check out the song. Yeah. It was crazy.
The time I got there, Rafa was in the studio.
Yeah.
And I think they were recording it was one of the soundtracks. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Kazlam.
Kazlam, yeah.
I think it was Kazlam 2 or something. And then they were doing recordings, and I was just like lying on the couch. Remember, like upstairs there was that
the big couch. Yeah.
I was lying on the couch, man.
The casting couch of music.
Yeah, was it the casting couch?
Listen, I don't know nothing about no casting couch of music. A lot of shit went down on that couch. You don't want to lie to
It's been a long lockdown for you, my brother.
Listen, I'm not married, bro. I am single. AF. Feel free to jump in my DMs.
It's been a very long lockdown for you, my brother. So, I mean, imagine seeing Morafe, all of those guys. I mean, at that point, Morafe was quite a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And quite a big influence. Jabba as well. But I think Jabba was like the godfather, and I think Morafe were like the, like the cool kids who you just wanted to like be around and just like shit, like if I could rap like those guys or if I could do this.
Yeah.
And then I stayed out there in the couch for like a day while you were recording, and they were recording. And then I remember the only time I went inside was when they break. So it wasn't the day. It was like between like 3:30, 4 until like 8. I want 8 either coming out now, for dinner, like McDonald's or whatever. And I'm like, that's the homies. And that's the first time I actually got to meet the gents. That's the first time I actually got introduced to like Kuli and Toady and KG.
Then we had like a bunch of songs that we had been developing for like the longest of time. One of them was the song JR. Like JR was like, I thought like that was a work of art to me. Like, back in our days we're like, JR, right? So record the song, and at the time my Tswana speaking was bad. It was bad. I couldn't understand the word. But I was like, I'm still going to record you, bro, because you got cadence, you got flow, you got vibe, you got spunk, and you say things of sense. Then in that particular song, we do JR, there's the bridge. There's this part that like kind of, it passed me, went over my head. How did it go? You went Gata Le Nna, and then there was something in the middle that you said.
I think it was like Gata Le Nna, khale ke tlotse rap, but now I'm bringing it back. Gata Le Nna, khale ke dituna song even way before Motswako. So Gata Le Nna,
that's the one. Yeah. Then so now let's skip back skip forward like a year. Like a year, I think it was a Saturday afternoon. We're hanging out at my place. I think we had just recorded Old Time Feeling, and then we go outside for a puff. And then I'm like, I'm like, there was a party that I was supposed to go to somewhere in Mpho Pholo. And I was like, man, I think we still got one more song inside us. So, and I was like, Jay, how did that thing go, Gonji? That Gata Le Nna thing. And you sang it for me just when I ran into the studio. Check this out.
And you cooked it up.
And I cooked it up, and then we started vibing. Like, I don't know, in my head, it felt like we recorded that song in an hour. You can tell me. But like, you were just spitting, man.
It was a very short song. I mean, the beat I think you made quite quickly.
Yeah.
It didn't take long at all. I think the beat probably took like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. I think the recording of it, because the lyrics were already written to that song, because it was actually like, because remember when we wrote JR, like I didn't actually write it. Like JR was a freestyle, and the only thing that I wrote was the chorus. Yeah. So that Gata Le Nna chorus was already written for another song, but we used it for JR because I thought like it would be you thought it would be a nice bridge or whatever for it. Yeah. And that's why we used it. So by the time we actually got to making the song, that's like 6 songs in, or like, a couple of months later. And we had, and so when I recorded that chorus, it was already written. It had been written for months already. So it was like, okay, the chorus has been there for like 8-9 months or whatever. And the verses were written already. All I had to do was record them, and it was just 2 verses.
Yeah.
And then we had also recorded it was just 2 verses.
It was 2
verses. And then you were like, why don't we like get Toady Mac on the joints?
Yeah.
Actually, you were like, why don't we get like one of the Morafe guys? And I was like actually begging you, like, oh man, let's get Morafe on this. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think you were also like kind of like scared. Maybe you didn't have the relationship with the guys that well, or like, hey, you were like, yeah, let's try it. Hey, I don't know. I know the guys, but we don't have that, But I know them. We're good. We can fine. And then you came back and you were like, okay, so I sent the song to Toady and he really wants to do it.
No, you know what my reluctance was at that time? I mean, I had a relationship with him. I did many songs. I mean, I was part of the second album of Morafe. I did quite a few, about 4 songs on that album. So we're cool. We're cool. It's just my only, like, that's for me, when I heard that song, when we were finished with it, at least the 2 verses, it felt big, right? For from my experience of working with a label, when you want to launch an artist, you don't want to put too many people on the song. I feel like if Gata Le Nna had a feature of the entire Morafu, then it would have been it would have looked like a JR feature on a Morafu song, even if the involvement was going to be like a short portion, you know. So I was like, and I was like battling with that decision. I was like, nah, it's cool. I think because you just said you mentioned Toady, because apparently you and Toady had a thing where he heard the song JR and you perform it, and every time that you guys saw each other, he would, you know, Gata Le Nna, Gata Le Nna, Ari, you know what I mean? Then
yeah. So yes, that's exactly that. So I used to perform that song like quite a lot, and I think WSP had also those YBA nights or whatever, and I performed that song, the JR song, at one of the YBA nights that Morafa happened to be at, and that's how like we kind of like. Then I, you know, reminded Toady and them, no, we met at Cube, whatever. Oh shit. And then that's how the relationship kind of like started, you know. Yeah. And then as time went on, like, you know, like we just like every time Toady would see me, like, cause I mean, we used to, like wherever Jabba would have YB and we'd be there. I'd be like every other rapper, like yo, out there, kind of trying to get signed. Yo, Jabba sign, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A YBA nights, I'm there, like yo. What up? Like, I'm about to hop on or whatever. And Jabba always used to put me on. He'd always make a slot, you know, like. Yeah. And then he got that thing where it's like, everybody obviously needed a chance, but, you know, he'd be like, yo, I want to call up this guy, come and whatever. So every time I used to see Toady, he would be like, hey, Gata Le Nna, Joe. You know, like, he actually used to be like, hey, Gata Le Nna, boss, you know, whatever. Like, it became a thing. So I think by the time you approached him or whatever, he had already heard the joint. I mean, like, yeah. Not the joint, but the hook.
Yeah, the hook. And then we recorded. We did like the session with Toady, and like we dusted that song up, man. It was cool, but I feel like when we finished that session, the entire song was polished. And I mean, as a producer, I can definitely acknowledge and say, yo, having you and Toady in the room to finalize that song kind of made everything. Like all the little whistles were there, like, you know, the doo, 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 and then the pitched vocal was dope. But there were like little nuances that actually happened, like, you know, ska gata man busa there, you know, like all small things, like even the centering of the song, like so many words were like which we finessed during that session. I was like, okay, when we're done.
And I mean, we're like one of the important parts. Sorry, just to come in there was actually Toady. Like I think it was he was like, yo man, let that Gata Le Nna just loop, you know?
Yeah.
I think someone was like, yo man, let's take out the stuff in the middle, man. Let that thing just like
because it went Gata Le Nna, Gata Le Nna, yeah.
And then it had to rap, but now we're bringing it back. Gata Le Nna, Gata Le Nna, nah. Forget all that stuff in the middle. Just let it go. Gata Le Nna, Gata Le Nna, and then just let it repeat. And I was like, shit. Yeah. It's bumping.
It's bopping, man. It went in.
Dog, it was insane.
Dude, remember? Okay, so at the night that we made the track, so we made in the afternoon. Then we had to go to a party. I don't remember. My friends from UCT, they had a party in Pozov, and we took our 2-verse song. It was me, you, and Mpho Pholo. We took our 2-verse version of the song, and then we smashed it at the party. And they were like, ah! Hey, brother.
Really?
Yeah, we took the CD, and then went to the party. It was like late, like it was chill, like it was like a bra, you know. These guys were like in finance, and I was like, yo, man. They're like, yo, so 37, what you got? And I was like, nah, this is my boy JR, you know. We're excited, bro. We're young, dumb, and full of it, you know? And I was like, yo, check this out. Then we played it a few times. Okay, there was one hater. He was like, nah, I'm not sure of this. Because he knew me from my rough and rugged days, you know? He was like, it's too jiggy, bro. I was like, listen, bro, if whatever you say, it can be jiggy all you want, man. But this right here, I'm putting my back into this thing. And then shortly after that, I don't know if it was like a week or so, but Jabba had a YBA nights, and I was like, yo, man, let's go. And then we got there, and he kind of agreed that we'll have like 10-minute slots. So our set list was very simple. It was like those two tracks, Gata Le Nna and JR. So you do JR first, boom, boom, boom. Then we smash Gata Le Nna. Bro, I think we played that song twice that night. And he was like, yo.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like, yo, boss.
I think so.
He's like, yo, what are you guys doing on the weekend? There's I think Maftown 60s was about to happen. He's like, yo, you guys can go.
Yeah, I think it was 60s bash. Yeah, I think it was 60s.
It was 60s, and he had that party that was like some town hall as you enter Maftown. And all of us, it was me, you, Ngobi, Mpho, and Lebo.
Yeah, he had that at that hall as you come into Mafike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got those T-shirts printed, those JR.
We had the T-shirts, bro, the white T-shirts, and we're skinny AF, bro.
I think those pictures are still around on Facebook somewhere.
I've got those pictures, bro. And then the one of Vuelo, Cindy, all those girls, bro. And then, okay, so back to the party. We get to the party. About KT and there. Casper was there. You know, all of them. Like, everyone's like waiting for their shot, bro, to like jump on that stage. And then I think by then we had written Matata also. And then we jumped on stage.
Yeah, but by then, Gata Le Nna was, I think it was already out.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was still our thing. It wasn't out yet, bro. It was like
I think it really was.
It wasn't.
Remember, we took it to Lee Kasumba the week it was made.
The week. No, didn't that happen after Maftown? It feels like to me.
So we recorded Toadie's verse like the week after.
You're right.
And then
actually,
after we finished Toadie's verse, we were together, and then you called me while we were with Toadie, and you were like, "No, we just did this joint. What?" And she was like, "Let's go." Then we drove to Rosebank to give her the record.
I remember. There you go. Yeah, dude. By the
time we had the gig in Mafike, the joint had been out. It was like a month out or a couple of weeks out, but
you're right. Actually,
it caught fire. The first week of the record being playlisted, it was already like. It was like a Sister Bettina of some sort, like, you know what I mean? Like
it was a Sister Bettina of rap, niggas.
Yeah, it was. Like, it was like a weird record. Like, as soon as it went out, I remember Monday, the late DJ Monday was doing playlists because he used to be a playlist compiler for YFM.
Yeah.
And that day he was compiling the new joints. And Lee played that joint in the studio, but not on air. She played it in the studio when we brought it.
Yeah, and AK, yes.
Her and Thomas, or was it her and Paul? I think it was her and Thomas. Yeah.
No, it wasn't Thomas. It was AK. AK Chamala. AK.
Oh, AK. Yeah, it was AK, ne?
Yeah, it was AK, yeah.
Played that joint in the studio, and then it blared like boom. And then that 808 boom, boom. Yo, and I remember Monday running into the studio saying, "Hey, who's this? Who's playing this thing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and then no, Lee was like, "Yo, turn it down. No, it's brand new Mpho, like the JR37 MPH." Monday was like, "I need this joint right now."
Right now.
That's when we gave him the CD and he playlisted it immediately like, in the studio. Yeah. And then Lee asked, like, can you put it on her slot on the show so she could play it during that segment of the show. And before we even got into the highway, the joint was already playing, like on radio, like was like boom, boom. And I was like, shit, nigga, what's on? Like, I knew this is about to change. Even the back announcing, like when Lee was like, "That's my boy, 37 MPH on production, JR, produced by 37 MPH, brand new. This guy's new. Guys, this song is gonna be big. It's gonna blow." I was like, shit, nigga. I just see the money rolling the eyes.
Oh man, what a time, bro. We that time it was like we became like rock stars. You were like rock stars. Like that song just made us rock stars. Like anybody could call us. Like Touch would phone us, be like, "Yo, come through, dog." On the Saturday, Naves was the guy there. He was like, I think he was the producer of Tibo Touch's show.
I think before even that, I went and did, I don't know if you were there, but I went and did Rhyme and Reason with
Yeah.
Zach.
Yes, actually.
Touch was doing that segment from the show in New York through a payphone or some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Yo, Fat Joe's performing tonight. Yo, and then get your feet on I mean, me and Touch still laugh about this thing today.
Oh my God.
Rhyme and Reason through a payphone from New York. Like,
that's crazy.
So we went to Rhyme and Reason. I think you were there with Zach Dakile.
Yeah.
And when Touch came back, when Touch came to South Africa to come do Rhyme and Reason as the actual show.
Got you now.
We actually went there to be like one of the guests. He was like, yo, can you guys come through? Because he actually heard us over the phone when he was in New York and he was waiting to do it, and we were at Zach's show. So when he came back, the joint was already out. It was like big. And he was like, yo, let's do it. But then, back to the Maftown thing. And then Jabba, when we performed the YBA, because that was part of our promo. We did YBA night. And then he invited us to Mafike to do the 60s with him. I think it was one performance at the 60s or that thing. But that was quite big for me at that point.
It was big for me too. Bro, we had the t-shirts. We'd go to any party. If there was like a party, we're like, okay, there's a party there somewhere. Like, we'd be outside by the car bumping the song and getting the chicks involved, man. We're like, yo.
Definitely, dog. Definitely. That was real promo. I mean, like, that was where we, actually got in the car, started the car, and drove around the country to go and promo a record. You know what I mean? To be at every party, just play the speaker, ask is there a microphone, get the mic, perform the record,
Did we even have accommodation that weekend, bro? I think we just got in. Did we? Or like
I was with my then girlfriend. There was no way I couldn't have had.
Oh, God, yeah. Okay, now I think I remember. I remember. That's the part I didn't want. That's the part I didn't want to say. I wasn't sure. Okay, cool. And then we come back to Joburg. Yes, things happen fast, bro. Things happen so fast with that song. What did that song do for you, bro? Like when it dropped, like, I mean, like looking back and like, yo, some people have that one song. I mean, you've had quite a few songs, but like that, I feel like that one was the beginning of a lot of things. When we dropped that song, it kind of, for me, I'll tell you my part. Like that song gave me the confidence and the boost to say, yo, I can do this. Because before then, it was like, you need to rely on someone else. They can tell you, and like, nah, this person sounds like this, and you know what I mean? But like, for me, it gave me that thing of like, yo, I believe in this thing. It's going to work. I believe in the vision. Rec Shop is a real thing. Let's go. Let's do the thing. And, not like the thing was heavily funded. We just made music, man. We made music. We had a little computer. And just that, having a song that you recorded with your mates, mix it down, and then send it to a few other mates, then the world just kind of became small, like really quickly, and like watching things happen, I don't remember how old you were the following year, like in March when your birthday happened, and you had that massive launch at the Blues Room, and
21. I think that was my 21st.
You're 21,
birthday.
Yeah. 21st birthday, and then you made me hire this the orchestra from Pretoria. The 8-piece, and
the 8-piece orchestra,
the 8-piece, and then
they want to tell me about orchestra on the square.
Brav.
I'm joking.
Don't be that guy, bro. They're gonna quote us on this.
We did it first. I'm not being that guy.
We definitely did that thing first, like in 2008.
And I remember at that 21st birthday, like, we had so many orchestra. Dog, we shot the shit out of this thing. We shot the rehearsals. The orchestra thing had a video. Where are these tapes?
Bro, I don't know. I just know I've got the session files. I got the sheet music. A couple of the photos. Then I mean,
I've got a box at home that's got like tapes in it. Because you remember Stanley?
Yes.
Stanley, he used to shoot the stuff.
Yeah.
I think he left me with some tapes. I've got them in the house. The tapes.
Get those tapes. Ingest those tapes, bro. Just those tapes.
Yeah, they might have some stuff on them. But yeah, man, I think the other we had that full orchestra show. I mean, like that was the 21st birthday, and I didn't know anybody in that room. My dad was there, my sister was there, and that's it. And
Touch was there.
Yeah, but everybody was there. They weren't my friends.
Yeah.
Touch. It was all industry people. Like we had a launch, like a big launch. Shit. And it was my 21st birthday. I always thought that's the one thing that I actually kind of regret about that part of my life was that I really, growing up, I really looked forward to having a 21st birthday party.
Yeah.
Especially because when I was 19, 21 was around the corner. So 21 was the thing I was speaking about. When I was 20, 21 was right now. It was I need to plan for this 21st birthday. And obviously having a tent, okasi, fagile tent, DJ, and lights, and it's your 21st, and you're getting fucked up, drinking out of the bottle, getting fucked up,
Yeah.
And I never had it. And literally all I had, or what I had, was a launch. I had a 21st birthday party that I would pay to be at because it was my launch. All industry people, Tivo Touch, Lika Sumba, Mama, all these motherfuckers from not in a bad way, but these people who are believers. They don't know me. They just believe in me. They're friends of you. They are, you know what I mean? And I'm I don't know anybody in here but my mom and my dad and my sister and someone else. And I'm happy that my family's here to support me. I think my cousin was there. My family's here to support me. And I'm yo, at least I got my family. But this is not the way I envisioned the 21st birthday. And I always felt that's what I got robbed of. The game, my career robbed me of that moment of being a young guy. Who's having a 21st. Now I want to get drunk, but I'm driving this new sponsored car from Renault that I just got. Everything is business. It's not fun anymore. I want to get drunk, I want to get messed up, but I'm driving this sports car that I just got. It's parked in the lobby. I'm there with my then girlfriend. I can't get as lost as I want to because I need to keep up appearances. I need to look cool for TV. I've got cameras in my face. I can't really have the fun that I want to have. And just you get forced to grow up so quickly because of that. And that's when you actually realize this is no longer a game. This is the couple of months ago with Gata Le Nna in a makeshift studio, you know what I mean? A couple of months later, you doing an 8-piece orchestra performance. And I mean at that point, remember Sipho Dlamini, Sipho?
Yeah, I remember.
Him and his brother used to own Blues Room.
Yeah.
And that's actually where I met Sipho from, because I used to do gigs all the time at Blues Room, and they used to own the spot. And that's how we became mates and knew each other over years. So it's I think, that period of time really, that element is what I think the game took away from me, that I think I'll never get that moment back. I'll never have that moment again, which is like a life-defining moment for a young man who's growing up in SA, 16 and 21. 21 is a big year. That's where they give you the key. I never got the key. You know what I mean? I never got that. So I feel like the game might have cheated me of that moment. But what it also did was it taught me in a big way to grow up. It taught me in a big way to get ready for the world. So yeah.
Damn, and grow up you did, man. Grow up you did. And then there was that one time, that other weekend, we got so messed up at my place. You phoned me yo, dog, TP's coming through. I've locked him down. Let's do a song. And then you phone me I'm around the corner. I'm oh snap! There's no beat. I ain't made no beats. There's no beat for this. He was coming. He's around the corner. Yes.
And I think we were drinking quarts that day. We were not drinking quarts.
There were so many quarts in the lounge.
I think we were drinking beer quarts that day. That's what we were drinking.
It was so hot.
It was so hot. You made such a sexy song, drinking Black Label.
Drinking quarts. Listen, bro.
God.
Even JR thinks you are. Phone rings. Okay, sure. I'll be back just now, gents. Go outside. Have a phone call. Hey, girl, what's up? I walked back in. I was like, "Alright, cool. Verse 2, man." Mama. Yo, I had to suck it in, bro. I was downing them, dog. Obviously,
that's
with
crazy,
the bro, so I mean, just I mean, it's really like it kind of hurt me a bit to when you shared that part, you know, about part of your youth being taken away because of, you know, the industry. You know, like similarly, bro, like things like that. Where I mean, I know towards the end of the album, my dad passed. Like just when we had to go deliver, yo, dude, that was for me. That was like the toughest thing. Like he missed the whole thing, bro. He missed it. Like I think he caught wind of, you know, seeing a little, like that's a glimpse. I don't think he even saw the fullness of what Gata Le Nna did, because that was, you know, as a son, that was my work. You know, like my contribution and your contribution together. Like your parents have seen.
It wasn't like coming through work, like where you were signed to at that time and whatever.
Yeah.
This was like, you know, something you had.
This is for me. Yeah, this is my dream. You know what I mean? So, and like, it was really tough, man, at the end. Like, we never got to even wrap up the album properly. You know, all I had to do was like hand the files over and then fly home and go bury my dad, you know? And I remember being home. I think
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, and I remember being home for I think I was mourning for like a month, but I didn't come back to Joburg for like a month. I was like, and you guys were like chasing a deadline. I was like, yo, we need to get this thing done, 37. I understand you're going through, yo, it was like, for me, like looking back, like emotionally, like that for me, that was like such a big thing, because, you know, my parents sent me to university, and I dropped out at the last, you know, my second last year. I was like, nah, I can't do this, you know, and I was like, I choose music, and I sacrificed a lot of stuff, you know, financially, and I was like, nah, I'm cool. I'm gonna do this. And my first deal was hard, man. My first couple of years was hard. I was like literally a bum. We never home. You know, my home was my backpack and the studio and my computer, you know? And so me meeting you and believing in your talent and saying, yo, this guy is dope, and I feel like I can take on the world, you know, at least it's a start of something. And we did it, and we made it happen. It was like, it was starting to come together, and I was like, dope. And then boom, my dad passed. And like, I couldn't share that moment with him, you know? It was like, oh, damn, I was trying to show these guys, like, yo, this music thing really works, guys. You know what I mean? You never got.
You wanted to resolve it some way, and you couldn't.
Just so they can get off. Yeah, so that they can get off my back and be like, okay, cool, you're not a complete failure. You know what I mean? Like, at least, okay, the music thing, your boy's gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Like, I remember talking to my dad the day before he passed. He's like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm in Joburg. He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? I'm like, I'm making music, and I've got something really big. And that's the last conversation we ever had. And we never spoke, well, obviously, you know what I mean? But like, you know, where I'm at now, because I'm very focused on being a dad. Hence, I'm even doing things like this, documenting my journey of music and the people that, you know, I want simply to, you know, when you come over, so you must know who Uncle JR is, like, properly. Like, yo, they come from a long way. These guys were like struggling together. They were getting bumped, you know, like the car was getting wrecked outside the complex, and, you know, drunk people were coming out, and we had to navigate that and navigate life lessons and you know, so the story of music is just is broad, man, and like, and some of it has like emotional journeys that we never get to share, and we never get to look back and say, yo, I didn't know that Jay was going through a time of, you know, like, you're feeling lonely. You're not like, everyone is celebrating around you, but like, who are these people? You know what I mean? I never looked at it that way, you know?
That's true, bro. Like, it's, and I hear you. You know, at that point where you never really also got to like enjoy fully the moment of that album, you know, like at some point, like, you know, it's like you started it through, you saw it come together, but when it got to a culmination of like the beginning part and the pre-production, and you got to see like the entire thing come into fruition, you were dealt like, you know, a fatal blow, and you lost your pops, and obviously you left. went to the Eastern Cape, and you were there for quite a while, and we had to chase things this side. And, you know, I had to deal with like the label this side and all of these guys. Excuse me, and there were conversations are like, look, man, you know, we're dealing with this thing. You know, what's the duty of like a record label if the guys are not here, if 37 is not here to deal with this issue, we have to deal with it. You know, we might as well then sign you for this because we're doing it anyway, you know. And it was like, yo, man, we're dealing with an issue here. There's a beast that's happening this side, you know. It might appear insensitive, but at that point, it wasn't. At that point, it was like, you know, you had to do what you had to do. That's the way life was. You know what I mean? And if it was any different at that point, I'm sure you would have handled things differently and things would have come out a bit more different. But, you know, it's the game can sometimes take things away from you that you've worked hard for. And, you know, there's no guarantees, man. It could be dealt whatever hand at some point.
Definitely, man. But I mean, creating musical memories is like, for me, that's the part that I choose to hold on to, you know. Despite all the challenges that we've had like conversations where the peace pipe was smoked, and the thing that always brings us together is the fact that you are Jay and I'm 37, and we both see value in each other, you know, in the studio creatively. And the music is our meeting point, you know. I mean, like, I started the year really nicely, you know. One of the first sessions I had was with you and a writer from the UK, and we had a good time. Like, he was like, yo, you guys, when last you guys get in the studio? We're like, yo, it was like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? But you guys are in the same territory. Like, yo, man, you know. But like, for me, that was like the creme de la creme. That was you know, it gave me the sense of like, yo, music is dope, you know. Even because of someone who came in from another country to come and work, we got to work with each other again and be cool with each other.
No, 100%, bro. 100%.
Yeah, man.
And you can't trade that for anything in the world, bro. There's a certain feeling that you get, a certain emotion that you go through that you.
How does
you gotta appreciate. You know?
Bob Marley said, when the thing about music is that when it hits you, you feel no pain.
You feel no pain, my brother.
Yeah, I love that. Man. Yeah, it's dope, man. Jedge, thank you so much for your time, man.
Brother, thanks, champ. I appreciate it.
Wait. We need to talk one more thing. So, I just wanted to quickly get you to drop the prophetic verse, the one verse the one verse of Gata Le Nna that kickstarted entire motion, an entire TV series that we know now as The River. So we have joked around it on social media, like, yo, The River was an idea that JR came up with. But there's a particular third verse. You're laughing. After that part that goes steady man and then you go.
It's a Friday. She kept smiling at my daddy. So that you got my melody, we had a good time. I really scared to looking all fine. Me and the pins started to be E-tie. You know, I'm bringing sexy fat.
Star. I freaking love that verse, man. Musadai Star.
That is a millionaire. Only the minor line is probably one of the most epic lines, the most memorable lines.
I've always wondered where the hell you get these ideas from. What world do you come from? How do you find out these things? How do you even bring up, like, Jay? That's what I want to know.
No, I think my life, like, you know, people always say that they write music from like experience, you know?
Yeah.
So everybody will be like, no, I write music based on my personal life or people that I know who've experienced this, and, you know. But I think music for me has always been like an escapism tactic. Like, I've always used music to get away. I've never used music to reflect on my current life.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
until the later stage in my life where I wrote What a Life, you know, my album, like my second last before JR and the Cousins, which dropped last year, and then there was What a Life, which dropped the year before, I think 2018.
Yeah.
But until I wrote What a Life, which was like a direct reflection of my life from where it started till now.
Yeah.
Music has always been written for me from a perspective of like escapism. Like my mom always says like, I've got a very wild imagination. My mom said, since a young age, you've got a wild imagination. You know, take Michael Jackson, put wool here, be Michael Jackson, use a surgical glove, somewhere in a concert, and say, you know, good morning, hello, New York, or whatever. Like, you've got a very vivid imagination. So I think when I started writing music, it's always been like an escapism form. So I always used to write music like to be like, if my life were different, how would it be? So when I wrote like, for instance, So Hot, it's all about, you know, for instance, it's not about the women that I've been with. Or whatever. It's literally about the women that I've seen, that I've idolized, that I wanted to date, that I could never get. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's always been like fantasy. Like then I wrote about it like I'm there with it. You know what I mean? Like I wrote about them like they're in my life. You know, if you listen to like maybe like even like the song that I had with Paragon, you know, my mama said to me, why did you up and leave? You know, like those are things that I probably wish that my mother would have said to me, you know, because my mother didn't ask me that thing. Like when I said to my mom, like I was gonna make music, she was like, you're really good at it. I made it sound like my mother was never in support. All she's ever done is support me. You know what I mean? So but the song is not interesting if it says, Mama supported me.
It wasn't gonna slap as hard as like, yo, mama.
You know what I mean? So, you know, as black kids, like, you know, the thing about writing music is that it allows you to do that. Like, so for me, it was like about writing, like about things that, like a fantasy world. Like, was always written. Like it's always like ask me about any song on Main Event. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? It was about an escapism thing.
I say
even if we go to like every album that came after that, you know, my music has always had an agenda of I mean, because my life was I mean, if I wrote about my life at that time, it would have been quite weird. You know, there was a lot of things that were happening in my life. There were a lot of people in my life. There were things that were good and bad, you know, legit, not so, blah, blah. You know, like, I didn't feel like, you know, those things, you know, had to be out there at that point. And secondly, like, I just felt like there was too much at stake. You know, there was way too much at stake. It was quite risky to involve that. There were a lot of people around me who weren't so great characters, but who were great characters to me, who people wouldn't. So it was an escapism thing. It was about like, let me reach into and talk about other aspects of my life that I would want to have, or something like a fantasy.
Sure. So I got two songs. Like you mentioned So Hot, and every time I listen to it these days, when I was preparing for this, I was listening to it. So I was like, Mimi, bro. Do you know who Mimi is? Like, little Mimi. Do you know in this day and age who that Mimi is? It's Mihlali, bro.
No, who's Mimi?
Mihlali. Mihlali. You can't say that. You're a married ass nigga, bro. I can say that now. No.
I'm not a married nigga, but I mean, like, I'm committed, but I'm not married. But I'm saying, Mimi is Mimi for you.
Yes. For me. No, I'm not projecting on you. I'm saying for me. So if I was the rapper, of course I'm gonna slide in the DM after this video.
You're killing me.
There's so many.
Are you killing me, dog?
Because you do say at the end, like in the world of escapism, to all the women that I like to meet in the future with TP, better be hot. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they better, dog.
The other second song that I love, that I really wish that it smashed the radio, was Who Only White Back? Aye. I think Aye
Hey,
is an iconic song, bro.
it is.
I freaking love
Aye,
that. So
aye,
we even
aye,
we, we even coined the Aye girls before it became a thing.
yes, they were the Aye girls. Yeah, damn, Aye girls. And those are all your friends, no?
Yeah. The Aye girls. Yeah. Such prim and proper girls from big families, and they're out there singing Aye. Pardon?
37. It's such great girls. Aye, 37, what? But I think that joint was dope, and I think KT obviously was like, I'd like it.
I'm
Sure.
sick, I'm
What a
ill.
rapper.
Yo, I'm sick,
What a
I'm
rapper.
ill. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, definitely one for the books. Very ratchet as well. Very hood, you know. A very hood song. But I think a direct reflection of where I come from when it comes to like the concept of the song.
Yeah.
The context, you know. Slightly maybe a bit different on the content, but everything all in all was really about like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was a
Definitely.
wild
Yeah,
time.
yeah, girls and everything.
Hey, it was a wild time, man. I mean, there's still more wild times. Don't worry. Don't you worry about it when you world touring day.
There's very little that I haven't done, you know, like, and I'm just like, I think at this stage of my life, like, I'm just like, I'm also tired. Like, you know, like, one of the last gigs that I ever did where I was booked for a show was year before last year.
Jeepers.
And I mean, from 2017, I dedicated my life to obviously building my business and whatever. I mean, like, 2018, I think, I was booked to perform at Sumo.
Yeah.
And I was asleep. I was in bed. And my alarm rang at 1:30 so I can shower at 1:30 and leave the house at 2 so I can get to Sumo at 2:30 and perform at 3. That kind of my life. Oh, sorry. I can't. 3 a.m. My brother, 3. I was sleeping. Oh, 1:30. Shower. No more.
You're like, nah, F this.
Because, dog, you're performing so late at night. You're performing at 2 a.m. You're at home at 7. You know, what are you doing from 7 till 2?
Yeah.
You end up having to invite your friends over, say, come to the house because you want someone to be with until 2.
Yeah.
And that's how you end up going to the club with an entourage. It's because, or you call it where you end up with those people where they are, you're drinking, whatever, you're having fun. By the time you get to where you go and you're drunk, then you have to perform. It just like, you know, if I'm home, I don't have to be to call people to come and be with me because I have to wait till 2 a.m.
Yeah. It's real, hey?
You know, that kind of like, yeah, it kind of got very tiring.
Yeah,
so you guys can enjoy yourselves and flourish.
I know. You guys can enjoy yourselves and flourish. Listen, I mean, for me, even the whole production game, I had to kind of look at it differently. At some point, I was tired of waiting for people to pay invoices. You know, I was like, this can't be life. I can't be the guy to, like, with the career I have, I can't be waiting for people to pay an invoice. And that's the only way I get paid. Is that seriously, like, I was like, nah, man, I can't. So I had to, like, restructure. Like, and most of the restructuring for me meant rewriting everything. Rewriting how I do things and start from the bottom again. And be like, cool, I'm going to be a musical director. And I'm going to try and build a career out of this. Because it feels, it's a little bit more in my control, and you can track the growth of it. You can create like a path and be like, cool, if I achieve this one, I'm gonna move on to this one. It's not as volatile as like producing popular music, because that's a
yeah. But I mean, if you're an artist,
yeah,
you see, for a producer it's different because you're not on stage, you're not performing, whatever. It's quite tough. But I mean, I was telling AKA that, you know, the reason he's still doing what he's doing till today, and you know, and like, the KOs and the Coolies and the Ma'is and the guys of this world is because they're willing to make sacrifices that I'm not.
Got you, yeah.
You know, there's certain sacrifices that you have to make.
Yeah.
As an artist, a performing artist who is also a father, who is also a partner, who has to also create a business and a career. You know, if you employ people, there are, you know, for you to keep your music career, you need to make life-changing sacrifices. And I mean massive sacrifices. Because you don't keep your music career by being at 37 mph and always being home, you know, raising a daughter, being responsible, fishing your kid from home, no, from school, bringing them home, being with them, doing homework. You build a music career by sacrificing those moments.
Yeah.
You know, and people don't understand that that's what it's about. Your long nights that are going to then chow into your relationship with your spouse or your partner or your children, that is essentially going to, you know, you might not be able to know how these people operate or who they really are because you are in studio at 3 a.m. You know, JR is saying, I'm driving back from Polokwane. I'll only be able to be in studio at 1. Can you wait for me till 1? Then I can record the verse. You need this verse by 9 because it needs to go to mix. You're going to wait for JR. Tomorrow, you're leaving your partner at home. You've made those sacrifices. Those are sacrifices you make. For my career, I will make these sacrifices. And like at some point, there are some people who are willing to make those sacrifices and some people who are not. And I'm just not those people. I'm not one of those people who are willing to make those sacrifices. I believe that I don't want to make those sacrifices. This is the way I want to do things. And I want to make music on my own terms. I want to write great records. I don't want to write records because I want to gig throughout the year. I want to make records because I want my records to go down in history as like great records or whatever.
How is fatherhood like added like an extension of yourself? Because I know, I mean, listen, we've known each other for a while. You're a very family oriented person. You know, you've got a great relationship with your dad, your mom, your sister, and everybody else around. How is you know, I don't want to mention his name because I don't know how you feel about that.
I'm good. I like look. I'm actually ready for bed.
I can see. How has being a dad like affected your? Not affected. How has that like contributed to the evolution of Jedge?
My brother, it's 9:20. So I know now it's time for the Queen.
Got you.
So I'm supposed to be watching the Queen and then I'm in bed.
Got you.
That's what my life has come to. That's what it is.
You're not missing in this picture.
What?
No, carry on. You're just missing a stogie. That's what you're missing.
Why?
You're just missing a stogie. You're just missing a stogie and a wine.
No. Like Friday. I'm busy. I'm busy with a very big project right now.
Okay.
So cool. Friday when I finish, I'll have a good glass of whiskey and a cigar. But I mean, like for now, my life just it goes on, bro. Like it's you know, I don't want to say, oh, my son actually did this or he did that. Whatever. I don't think like that, you know.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when we were going to prenatal classes or whatever, you know, the gynecologist was like, don't make your child fit into your life. Don't fit into the child's life.
Yeah.
So I can't sit here and say like, oh, my child has actually helped me calm down. No, this nigga needs to fit into my life, you know. If I'm back at 3, nigga. I'm sorry, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it is, you know?
Yeah.
So it hasn't really, I mean, it's obviously given me a bigger sense of purpose, but I've known what my purpose has been for the longest time, even before I had a child. I knew what my purpose was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And hence I would always sign artists like you know, A1 Wolf, Young Chief, Shane Eagle, Mama Beyond Vocal, Jobe London, whatever. I'd always like want to grow great artists because I've always known that my calling was always to help people in one way or another. That's what my calling is. You know, I'll always go over and beyond the call of duty to help people. Just that I would then use the help to make it commercially viable for myself and my business, but essentially helping artists get bigger as well. But I mean, that's always been it. So I mean, having a child that gives you a bigger sense of purpose, but I've always known mine. But I think, you know, loving my son is probably the biggest highlight of my life is to actually have the opportunity to love someone other than yourself.
Gotcha.
And not even like a partner or whatever, but like, you know, when you love, I don't think I can ever love someone else more than I love myself. I don't think it's possible.
Got you.
You know, I wouldn't lie and say I can't love someone else, you know, more than I love
More
myself.
than, yeah, that's weird.
The first time when you have a child,
Yeah,
you can love someone else more than you love yourself. That's weird.
yeah,
That's the weirdest thing in the world.
yeah.
That's really weird. But I mean, it's lovely, man. It's
Yeah,
lovely.
that's
Actually, now he
amazing.
was up. He was sleeping now. I think he might have woken up. I'm just gonna give him some attention, go to bed, have some wine, then also hit the sack. I mean, that's just it, bro.
Got you, man. Word. Thank you so much, man, for your time. Thank you.
Thanks, my brother. Thanks, MP, man. Say what's up to Simbi, and thanks for your time. I think also thanks for your contribution, brother. You know, I think a lot of people take for granted how big your contribution is, not only in on the records, but also behind the scenes. Like, you know, the relationships that you've created, sounds that you've given people, and I mean, as a producer, see, the bad part as a producer is your work is very short-lived. Like your input is short-lived,
Yeah,
but your output is very extensive, but
Yeah.
it doesn't belong to you.
yeah, yeah.
So you go into the studio, you create this talent, or you help create the artist is already talented. You have to create this persona that is going to run for the duration of his career or her
Yeah.
career.
Yeah,
And you might not be part of that, right?
yeah, yeah,
You know, so you go into studio, you work with the JR, you get Gata Le Nna, you do this, you do that. You give a JR a sound and a style and an identity. And the rest of his 12-year career, 13-year career, you become excluded from, you know? And he
Yeah.
goes on to do so many things that you cannot commercially see the value.
yeah.
And I think for you, like as producers and whatever, that's quite a tough thing to have to go through. But it's
Yeah.
also so great, like that there are people like you. People have never really understood the importance of having a producer and
Yeah.
not a beat maker and not you know, a beat maker or whatever, but a producer who can actually produce a record from beginning to end, you know, can give you full 15 tracks or 10 tracks of like a solid album.
Sure.
Who can put you in, you know, 4 months, 5-6 months of pre-production, you know what I mean, preparation, trial and error, recording songs, finding the right feel, you know, the writing
Yeah.
styles, you know, different beats, all those things. 4 months, 5 months, 6-8 months of trial and error. I mean, I tell artists about incubation periods right now.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear it, you know.
Yeah,
They don't want
yeah.
to hear that,
They wanna
you know,
pop
we're going to
now.
incubate for 8 months.
Yeah,
They want to just pop now.
yeah,
And, you know, I have to take my hat off to people like yourself who can actually dedicate that much of time to working with the new lady that you're working with. I forgot her name, and I know you guys have been in pre-production for a long time before you actually dropped
yeah.
the single and
No
stuff.
sequel, yeah.
And all the other artists that you've worked with, like Caroline's and whoever, and all these artists who you've actually given time towards pre-production for and
Yeah,
putting in incubation periods. Writing, finding new style, like playing styles, or how you're going to play this new, you know, style that is going to be suited for an urban jazz or neo jazz artist, and what chords you're going to use. There's a lot of time and effort that go into the preparation before you actually start getting into the studio and making the record that people don't actually see.
Yeah,
And it's great to actually give you your roses and say thanks, bro, and then your compliments and what you do, which is to say thank you, like on behalf of myself and every other person whose life you've touched, and you know the production that you've given to different men and women throughout your entire career, you know.
No doubt, man. I'm just trying to tell a story of the whole picture. You know what I mean? My thing is like there's a definite plan in my life. The stuff that I still want to achieve, and this just having these conversations just shines a little bit of light on the guys in the dark room that are busy sorting out the trumpet sound and your kicks and the snares, while some of your party, or you know what I mean, like those guys that so it's just to give them the oomph to carry on, you know, like, you know, I know some of the producers, like, they get frustrated, they're like, it's not the time. Like, listen, the music game is dope if you just make it, if you understand what lane you're in. I've always been drawn to sitting behind my computer or sitting behind my piano and figuring things out. That's my thing. That's my passion. It's up to me to navigate how I do it and for it to take me, my gift to take me to where I need to be. You know what I mean? So thank you for those words of appreciation, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your talent. Thank you for your your crazy thank you for your energy, and thank you for the time that you've actually put into developing other artists. Abo Yanga, there's so many people that you put on, man. That have written and have taken pages out of the book of JR. So don't stop.
They'll never say anything, these bastards.
That's why I'm gonna tell these mother truckers. Mother truckers! Mother truckers! Acknowledge, man. You must acknowledge the mother truckers. But I'm the type of person that can say that. I'm okay to say that and be like, yo, you're what you're doing. It's not to say it's the end of life. Nah, you got so much more. I'm just against the idea of when someone goes 6 feet under, that's only then the entire industry must be like, oh my God, they were such a dope person. Me, I believe in, if I can see you, whether I'm vibing with you or not, I'm still gonna tell you, like, you are dope, my G. And don't let it be weird. I gotta tell you, because it's in my nature to tell you. It's my nature to encourage you. It's in my nature to acknowledge something that's good. Because that good thing, that word that I say to you, will come back to me at some point. You know what I mean?
Tenfold.
Tenfold, whether it's in action or deed or like somehow it comes back somehow. Like, God is gonna be like pleased with me when I reach heaven. It's gonna be like, yeah, man, you did your thing 100%. You inspired people, you did your part. That's all I'm here for. It's just to be like, I'm a dope character. I like to make music and be cool with people, and that's where I leave it at, We don't, so, but it's just a shame that people can't say that out loud and be like, yo, you killed it, mother trucker, They'll be like, yeah, if I say you killed it, mother trucker, I was going to think I'm weak. What are we? Are we in a prison cell or something? What is happening?
It's just the nature of the people, brother. That's the life we're living in. But I mean, we have to just be able to make it work.
I'm with you. I was just riffing there for a sec. I was just being comical. No doubts. I hear you. No doubt, man. Cool. Cool, man.
I'll catch you soon. Yeah, I'll catch you on the flip side.
Beating the back, 37 miles per hour with